And yo, you already know who it is. It's myself, King Jones. It's the football pull up. We got Couch here. We got the Podfather. It's a massive podcast. How you guys doing? How are you Chelsea fans doing? Like, what's going on?
I can't lie, I've been better, but it's just shocking news. I woke up and my jaw dropped, but I mean that's the life of Chelsea supporter. You're always left to be, meant to be kept on your toes. You can't expect any one game to be, any one result to just go without being scrutinized heavily, right? So here we are.
I've got my own theory on exactly what, and I'm going to show you guys, what I think, some of the reasons here. So I don't know if you guys can tell me if you can see this, guys. Can you see the whiteboard?
Yep.
So what we see here is Tuchel sacked, and then next to it, we see Lukaku was right. Everything Lukaku said, he was a genius. He was right. Obama what couldn't save him. We saw that performance yesterday. Couldn't save him at all. And my last reason is, if we're in doubt, you should always blame Loftus-Cheek. You know what I'm saying?
Sounds like a bunch of haters.
Those are just my reasons. But, obviously, Todd B, Todd Bowley, as you call him, but I'm going to call him Todd B. I'm going to call him Todd B, has made his decision to bin Tuchel. Me and the Podfather actually had a bet. He will not admit to on air. I did not think Tuchel would make it to the end of the season. I didn't think he'd get sacked this early, but I did not think that he'd make it to the end of the season. From a Chelsea fan point of view, how do you guys feel about it? Are you happy? Are you ready for the next guy to come in? Did you want him to have more time? What are the first thoughts running through your head?
Let me go. So like everybody else, watched the game yesterday. I think that's a good place to start from.
Yeah.
First 10-20 minutes, I thought we were actually really good. The team we're playing against wasn't playing a low block. There were loads of chances first 10-20 minutes or whatever. Goal against the run of play, and then as usual, there's just no real ideas, no spirit in this team. It didn't seem like we had any idea tactically, like how this is how we're going to break down Dinamo Zagreb. We've done our scouting, and this is their weak area, or this is this, or this is that. Like it just seemed like a lot of freestyling, players just going up and crossing and hoping. So the writing's been on the wall for the last first few games that there wasn't something right. That I think it would lead to a sacking? No, especially after he signed all these players. I thought he'd definitely be given to at least January. People say international break, like that makes a difference. Like that's 2 games. What difference does that make? So I thought it would at least be till January. In fact, probably to the end of the season. I thought that they probably give him towards the end of the season based on his popularity in the fan base was massive. Yeah, there's a small online contingent that doesn't like him, but overall in the fan base, this guy is proper. Seems anyway. From what you see on the telly and all that, seems very popular stuff. It seems more like a Twitter debate, Tuchel in, Tuchel out, whatever. Which I don't agree with. I think it's just I don't know why we're doing all this Tuchel in, Tuchel out stuff because we're doing it because that's like an Arsenal Man U thing, and that's the thing you do when it's like, oh, we have an unproven manager, so we're not sure. We had a guy who in our mind was proven won us the Champions League. It shouldn't be about in or out. It's about if you're doing a good job, you stay. If you're doing a bad job, you go. It's as simple as that. But just shocking. I'm on the fence with the decision. I can understand it because my thing is always like I've never seen any new board come in and not appoint their own guy within a year or two. I don't care how good the guy was. Yeah, they always look to maybe only Sir Alex, I would say, is the only one that I saw at United. Everybody else, whether they've gone into Arsenal, they look to appoint someone new. Liverpool, they've looked to appoint someone new. Man City, they look to appoint someone new. Like it always happens, like every team, because they want to build the team in their image and basically take credit for whatever success comes afterwards. And obviously now you get all the reports about how lost the dressing room. But that's pretty much what they're saying. They haven't said use those words, but that's pretty much what they're saying. If you're falling out with 5, 6, 7 players, it's never going to work, especially popular players within the dressing room as well. But for me, the more important thing was how we're playing the pitch and tactically and all that. It seemed lost. Like a lot of the selections were baffling. So it wasn't a matter of just the players are not trying hard.
When you say baffling, do you mean that Loftus was getting too many starts?
Nah, because Loftus is my favorite player, son. What you say? You know what I mean?
Is that the ride on all?
I'm talking Gallagher in the pivot. Yesterday, Mount in the pivot. I'm talking about in the second half, putting Raheem Sterling as an 8 in midfield. Yeah, I'm saying I'm talking Broha getting like 15 minutes ahead of game. Every game. But every time the guy comes and he makes an impact, but it can't seem to start. I'm talking about playing Aspilicueta instead of Chilwell consistently. Like everybody has to be injured for Chilwell to get a game, basically. Everybody, like you have to have like 4 or 5 defenders out for him to get a game. It's Aspilicueta, who's been shocking every game this season.
So just to ask you, let me go to you, Couch. So with what the Podfather was saying about the confusing lineups, do you believe in getting rid of the manager at the beginning of the end, or do you wait until it's more mid-tier to the end? With all these confusing selections he was making, could you see any reason for the board to get rid of him, to say, you know what, let's just clean house?
I think Pod touched on some good points there, but I think he left one gaping one. When we talk about bringing in a new manager and we're talking about like a new regime, I just feel like this was predetermined. We've been cleaning house this summer, cleaning house. We're talking from top to bottom. And I think that that's something that you need to pay attention to. The fact that you couldn't really sack Tuchel. You come in and you just sack Tuchel with the credit that he's basically garnered with the supporters right now. That'd just be a bad PR look. And these guys are about PR. Don't get it twisted. These guys are about PR. They want big signings. They want, all that stuff. That's basically how they operate, right? They have a PR firm, as a matter of fact, as well. So I think that a lot of what we're seeing right now has less to do with what we're seeing on the pitch and more to do with what they had already had planned from time. They were thinking about this from time. They're just waiting for the right opportunity to pull the trigger, As far as the playing style goes, there was a lot of weird, I just put out a video. It's basically garbage now because I was basically just berating Tuchel for selections, yesterday. And all of the selections just made little to no sense. There was no cohesion. There was no coalescing of the squad. You looked at the squad and you really felt like the ideation in the final third was just void. There was nobody making any sort of real attempts to, properly articulate what Thomas Tuchel wants to do on the pitch. It just didn't look like anyone had any real semblance of what we're trying to do. It's either that or they weren't taking on the instructions of the manager. Simple as that. It's either one, they don't understand what he's saying, or they just refuse to take on the instruction. Because yesterday looked like a kickabout. It did not look like a Chelsea team in the Champions League. It did not look like that at all. So for me,
no intensity.
There's nothing. There's no ideation. There was nothing that I saw that made me feel like this is Chelsea in the Champions League.
When did that begin? Did that begin last season, towards the end of last season, or did that only begin for you this season?
It's hard to say. We can talk about last season. Last season was tumultuous, man. A manager, he stuck through us through the most tumultuous period of all. We were facing liquidation. Yeah. So there's a lot in the backdrop of just not just on the pitch that we had to deal with that, to get us to this point even, right? So I can't really look at the playing style of last season with the injuries and the Lukaku's and all these other things. And I would have just given him a bye based on the fact that he weathered that storm and got us third and got us to a bunch of cup finals or whatever and whatnot, won a couple cups. I would have just given him a bye at least for that period. You look at the structure of this club right now, there's absolutely no football heads in the club right now. None. Zero. He was the last one. So this is why this is a very murky position for me right now, because not only have we cleaned house, but right now we have inexperience at the top. There's nobody that understands football there right now. So if they've made this move with the notion that they're bringing in a director of football, the director of football has kind of come to the conclusion that he doesn't want to work with Thomas Tuchel for multitude of reasons. You can draw those conclusions, and you can probably drop enough. Boldy's been working with him the entire summer. Boldy's already been getting the same sort of vibes that this guy is very hard to work with in terms of working together to try and find solutions. Maybe that's where this is going right now. But if I see them hire Graham Potter, which is obviously the hotly rumored name right now,
Harry.
before they bring in a director of football, I tell you, man, I don't know where I'm going to be pretty upset, to be honest.
The only thing I say is we need a manager in it before the weekend. I think director of football is not an immediate concern. Like, yes, 100%. But I think if you know he's coming and he's sanctioned the move and they like each other and they're ready to work with each other, I think you can do the
exactly.
One now. The thing about it is now when you look back at a lot of stuff starts to make a lot of sense. Yeah, where you don't pick it up at the time. So, like Tuchel coming out and saying, "I love working with Marina. I love working with Peter Cech." Yeah. I mean, guys like these are the guys who just sacked and moved on. Yeah, like for me, it was the perfect relationship. That's what he said. Yeah, they'd handle everything. I just talked to them. They were on board with me or whatever. You have a new guy, whatever. Now it comes out that apparently when the moves weren't going well for Rafinha and who was the other person?
Kunde?
Yeah, the guy called Tuchel like, "Yo, get on the phone, call the player, see whatever." I'm coaching. You handle that. Yeah, I mean, what kind of response is that? Tuchel, like, and think about Tuchel. Tuchel. People forget Tuchel's falling out with every board director of football he's worked with.
Dortmund, PSG, yeah.
So the guy actually has a
Conte thing. He has a Conte. There's a Conte attitude.
Yeah. He has a reputation for this. Yeah. Now we thought okay, after the first year at Chelsea, we weren't hearing too much about him and the board, so we thought the guy he's gone past all that or whatever. But he seems like he was starting to revert back to type. Then the reason why last season has to be taken into account, yeah, is the fact that you fell out with Lukaku, you fell out with Werner, you fell out with Ziyech, you fell out with Pulisic or whatever. Yeah,
obviously.
That's from last season. Yeah. Now we couldn't shift all of them. There's still two of the players here, but we shifted to you're not getting along with these guys. These guys are desperate to leave. These guys are flying to Amsterdam to set up their own moves. Yeah. Pulisic is begging. His dad is begging on social media. Let my son go. Free.
I am free.
Listen, that's how desperate they are not to work with you and get at the club. Yeah. So that's the reason why I would take last season into account, because it's like you've shown like you have your relationship with this squad of players has been deteriorating ever since you got here. Yeah, I'm saying whether it's Hudson-Odoi trying to force you out alone, this one, that one. So I have to take that into account last season, and coming into this season, my thing was if you felt that way, you got to sack him in the summer, because what if he won these first 6 games? Then what? Then you have to keep him. Yeah. Then you look crazy for sacking him. If he came out and he smashed his first 5 games, all those behind the scenes plans that you had. You just have to wait to the end of the season, because the fan base will really go nuts. You would have sack him after that.
But do you think? So I was thinking about this, and I probably thought about this in the last hour or so. And let me know if I'm way off. Do you think a part of it could be because obviously, like you guys said about Todd B, he's eccentric. He wants exciting signings. Do you think a part of it could be based on the fact that Tuchel has shown himself as not really a mainly attacking-minded manager? While he's been in the Premiership, he's looking at teams like Man City, looking crazy, scoring 6 goals. He's looking at other teams in the past, like Liverpool, scoring goals, even to smaller, tiny, really low down extent, Arsenal popping the ball around Manchester. And he's thinking, I want to play like that. I want excitement. I want people to be talking about us, watching our goals. And he's watching Tuchel at Chelsea, and he's like, it's a bit boring. What the fans were saying this season anyway.
I mean, yeah, that could be a factor, but I mean, I think the bigger thing is just management, right? Like, we have a lot of players that are not playing to their potential right now. Yeah. You know, we have a lot of players that seem to be not taking on the instruction of the manager. And like, I know Tuchel's always come out and said that he doesn't want to be a manager. He wants to be a coach. But like, when you're at this level, you have to have managerial skills. And like, clearly what we're seeing right now is this squad is not taking on the assignments that the manager is passing on. He's playing players out of position, you know, and just the demand of the football. Like, you're asking guys who only really like to operate in the final third to be pressing all over the pitch, to be up and down the pitch and whatnot. Like, to be honest with you, like, you'll be hard pressed to find a lot of guys at the top levels that want to do that. There's just not that many guys. They're going to bring in Graham Potter now. Graham Potter's got like a squad of like, bit part players, mid-table players to buy into his philosophy. You think that Graham Potter now is going to come to Chelsea and get them to work as hard as like those little players that he has at like Brighton right now? These are big name players that don't want to play that style of football. You know what I mean?
I wanted to speak a bit about Harry. We were talking about him Potter taking his magic wand, coming to Chelsea, making it amazing. I personally believe, and I'm not saying he's not a good manager, he is.
He is.
I personally believe, first of all, I think Aubameyang's not listening to him. I think the first time he's like, Aubameyang, run down the left, sharp. Yeah, he's quiet. I think a lot of the players are going to look at him and they won't have that respect. And the reason why I think they won't have the respect for him is because I believe two types of managers get respect, in my opinion. Either managers who have crazy accolades in the first couple of weeks, Louis van Gaal, when he comes in with the Champions League and this, that, whatever, or managers who are so tactically astute or play a certain type of football that's so amazing to watch that you're like, I want to be a part of this. I personally believe that Poch at one point played that sort of football. I believe certain managers did play that football. I watch Graham and he plays good football at Brighton, but he doesn't make me go crazy. I'm not excited 90 minutes and I can't believe it. So I think him going in is just a bit part, but I don't think that's what a lot of Chelsea fans want in the long term. I think you guys want excitement, you want goals, you want to be City,
No, I would agree with that. But the only thing is like the way that he's playing with the players at Brighton,
yeah,
I think that's an appealing aspect, right? Like you're saying, like this guy's taken like a bottom tier team and moved them up the table quite considerably, right? But even with that said, what you said about like the style of managers that players gravitate to, I think you're right. Yeah. You either have some sort of a pedigree for winning that you want, like players want the success, or you have some sort of like gravitas with your football, right? I don't know if. And then you also have to have the ability to manage big personalities, right? And I don't know if I've seen enough from Graham Potter that would suggest that he can handle those types of personalities. Could be wrong. I would love to be proven wrong, but yeah. I just feel like that, and then also the demand of the football at Chelsea right now, not just like on the pitch, but like you're playing 2-3 games a week now. You got Champions League, you got cup games. He wasn't doing that at Brighton. He was able to just focus on one game a week and just get his squad ready for that next game, that next team. Can he handle playing, matching wits with managers in the Champions League? Can he handle matching wits, with the best of the top level managers of the Premier League? Like he's shown that to a certain extent. Definitely the Champions League. That's what I mean. That's definitely at the Champions League, right? And like these are my worries about this whole process, which is why I would rather, before you go ahead and make the decision to sign the next coach, next manager, however you want to look at it, get the director of football in who can now bring in his person, whoever that is, to deliver the style of football that they want. That's what it is.
So to ask you, Podfather, I'm going to ask you a question. I'm going to let you answer. To ask you, do you believe that Chelsea, or not just Chelsea, but right now, that a lot of fans, we get caught up in like the manager of the moment. So we look at the manager who's doing the best at the moment at the level they're at, and that's Graham Potter. And we ignore other managers who are better managers. For example, Pochettino is probably a better manager. And that happened with Ancelotti. When he was at Everton, nobody really wanted him. But Madrid saw what they thought he was. They took him and he done the job that they wanted him to. Do you believe that we're getting caught up in the manager of the moment versus who could ideally be the better manager?
Yeah, I think definitely, because I think one, a lot of fans, they put up names that they don't even watch these guys. They don't even know anything. But guys still talk about Enrique from what he did at Barca in 2015, 2016. Yeah, guys mentioned Enrique. Guys talk about Hansi Flick and. Like, have you seen our squad? So it's a very different situation. So yeah, and I think, and it's tough because is it really our job as football fans to know all these things? It's not really. Our job is to know our club and saying about our players and all that sort of stuff. It's up to the management and the like Couch said, football director of football, scouting departments to this is what they get paid for, to sort out these sort of decisions. Like picking a manager is a massive decision. Although these guys have shown that if they get Potter and it's not working by the end of the season, I'm surprised if they end up sacking him then. In terms of Potter coming in, okay, so these are the upsides with Potter. Yeah. One, from what I hear, is a good man manager, which he'll need at Chelsea. Yeah. Two, he's improved every player that's worked under him. Every single player. Yeah. Ben White,
Welbeck,
Dan Burn, like players that nobody was looking at. Yeah. Even Tariq Lamptey,
Yeah, look at Basuma. Basuma's dropped since he's left.
Basuma, Trossard, So
Cucurella.
He's well known. He's well known for. He's well known for actually improving and coaching players.
Yeah.
And the thing about him, he didn't really get his football education here. Where was he? Sweden or something like that. That's where or Austria somewhere. He didn't actually get his football grounding in England. See, that's why he's not your typical English manager with all this, kick and run and passion and all this sort of stuff. Wherever he plays a more attractive brand of football. He plays 3 at the back. If you're someone who likes the system that we play now, 3 at the back, 2 in midfield, 2 up top, 1 on top, whatever. That's exactly the way Brian played. Yeah. So it's not going to be that much of a transition, learning a new system and all that stuff, sort of stuff. If you feel like we've got a team that only suits a back 3, then he's a manager that can come in and work with the squad, because that's the way he's been playing for the last couple of years at Brighton. Now, the downsides to me, one, like I said, no Champions League experience. Does he have the personality, the media personality as well, like the press conferences, this because that's part of the branding of the club. You know what I'm saying? That to be that front facing, answering all the questions, dealing with players' issues, all that sort of stuff. Can he do that? I don't know. In my mind, if we're talking about better managers out there, he's probably if we're talking about the ones that are available, I would say Pochettino, Potter, and Zidane.
I've got a cheeky manager that I personally believe makes sense. Nobody will agree with me, but based on, if we're looking at a manager who has managed big players, we're looking at Premier League experience, we're looking at someone that's won recently, someone who's created a good squad. Why is Brendan Rodgers not in this conversation? I think
Pochettino's Zidane.
You see, you're not ready for the truth. I'm just saying, Brendan Rodgers been fooled. The fact that he hasn't spent no money this year. This year, he won the FA Cup against. He won the FA Cup against your manager.
Bro,
no, but
let's not forget. This guy has just like toxic. We're talking about managers, man. Like, I know jokes aside, banter and whatnot, but like, we're talking about managers to manage a squad. You honestly think that anyone wants to listen to Brendan Rodgers?
But they have.
They have. No.
He finished second with Liverpool. He's won the FA Cup with Leicester. He
bottled it with Liverpool. Yeah. He might have had a little pump with Liverpool one time, but
he won the FA Cup with
I'm talking about. He's not a likable personality. He's not a likable personality. That's the
he's
thing.
A good manager. He's not a bad footballing
manager. No. Listen, he's a good manager, but his window has passed. Maybe he can come back again. He was hot 2 years ago. Now he's just garbage. Anyway, but listen, what I'm saying here. What I'm saying is that, in terms of what Couch was saying, in terms of like the egos and the names of Chelsea, I don't really see too many egos at Chelsea. Like a lot of these players are, you know what I mean, that the old ones are like last year their contract's about to be ghost, and the other ones are like young guys who haven't really achieved or done anything. Yeah, I mean, so it's not like when Lampard, Drogba, all these guys they're coming in and you have to impress them and really lock down the dressing room. A lot of these guys, if they left tomorrow, the club will be like, all right. Yeah, I mean, like the family is not gonna cry that much. I don't know if the ego thing will be as much. Like, I think when you look at United's dressing room, way more egos. You look at Liverpool's dressing room, probably way more egos than that. Same thing with City. I think we're like the least, in terms of top 4 teams or wherever when it comes to egos. So I think that will be a concern to a certain extent, but I don't think it'll be as much as back in the day during Lampard's time or Hazard and all those guys.
I mean, as soon as you start dropping players, that's another thing, though, right? Here's the other thing too. There's the other caveat to this whole Tuchel thing, because this is where I kind of feel things kind of went pear-shaped. When he first came, like Wolves away, the thing that was just so good about him is that he brought a good culture, good energy to the building, right? He was bringing people in from the cold that weren't playing anymore, and he was giving them the opportunities to prove themselves again. And it feels like it's just gone the exact opposite now. Like, now he's alienated players. There's a disconnect. Players are playing out of position. Players don't feel comfortable being at the club anymore for whatever reason. And that happens all the time. Like, if you're not playing, you don't want to be at the club anymore. That's fine. But like, the arm that he used to put around people's like shoulders and stuff like that just doesn't seem to be extended enough anymore. And I think that sort of like toxicity and whatnot is only aided to him being sacked right now, just because he's now breeding toxic relationships in the dressing room. Again, I don't have any proof about this, but I feel as though like the relationship between him and Bowley was soured during the transfer market because this guy was just not, he didn't seem like a guy that is easily working, like a work, what's the word I'm looking for? A guy that is easy to work with.
Yeah.
So if you bring it into their football, it'd be very hard to work with this guy because clearly he hasn't shown that he wants to be more,
And once results started to go wrong, even in preseason, he withdrew. Yeah, I mean, and he started his rage started coming out. Yeah, whether it's to the apparently loads of shouting matches in training sessions. So at the beginning, him and Bowley were on the phone like all day, every day, hour phone calls discussing strategy and this or whatever. And after a while, the guy just stopped. He just stopped answering calls. He said when he offered him Ronaldo, he said nah. Then Bowley kept on saying, but why though? But why? And the guy had no reason. Just no. It wouldn't. He just refused to explain. Like, listen, I'm a football guy. You're not a football guy. That's it.
Well, I'm sure he explained it as this. He's like, listen, this guy's personality type doesn't fit with the group right now. And that probably makes sense. You know, you're bringing up a big entity like Ronaldo to a football club like Chelsea right now. It wouldn't have made sense. But in terms of corporate branding, yes, it makes sense. And that's what Bowley was after, right?
And we understand it, but I'm saying based on the report, Tuchel did not explain any of this to Bowley. He literally just said, I'm not interested. And Bowley kept on asking him, listen, we can get this guy. Like what they said was the marketing is part of the club, whether you like it or not. Yeah. We're here to grow the brand and make money. You have to have a damn good reason for me not to bring this guy in. It's gonna just bring us in, 50, 60, 70 million extra or whatever. What's the reason? Yeah. Is this something that you can't handle? Is this something tactically? Is this something whatever? And I don't know, but just from the report anyway, it seemed like the guy's like, why are you questioning me? I'm the football guy. You're not. Back off. Yeah, I don't want the guy. It's simple. And apparently
that sounds like PR to me. That sounds like PR to me, just to be honest. Like, I feel like that is a PR spin. What has been told, even from jump, about like the whole Ronaldo thing was this guy's not going to be good with the group. He won't work with the group. That's exactly what we're hearing the whole time. He's not going to be one that will work. Like, just like the synergy with the group would not be there with Ronaldo in the fold. So I don't know.
Do you think, as much as we talk a lot about Tuchel getting his targets, but if we're honest, there's a lot of first targets that he wanted, and he got the second target, which is a player that he wanted, but not as much. For example, he would have never got Aubameyang if he could have got Lewandowski. If he got Rafinha, he would have never got Koulibaly if he got Koundé. There was a lot of second targets. Like, he got a lot of the second guy that he wanted, but a lot of the first guys he initially wanted, he didn't really want. So when people are looking at him like, you got everything you wanted, he's thinking, no, I didn't. I didn't get nowhere near what I really, really wanted. Do you think that could factor in?
Yeah, it could, but when does everybody get what they want? Like at the beginning of the season, I want Mbappe, I want Neymar, I want.
No. But what about realistic? You know what I'm saying? Realistic. Realistically got Lewandowski.
I told him it's not realistic. These guys want Barcelona, bro. Yeah, they want Barca. There's nothing we can do. Yeah, I mean the Rafinha, we came in mad late.
No, but that was a plausible transfer. Like, these are transfers where. Mbappe is the transfer that even if you guys wanted him and he didn't want, he's not going to leave PSG for Chelsea, most likely.
No, but listen, but like I said again, the report came out and said that they felt like he was unhelpful during those pursuits.
Oh, okay. But they have to. They're never going to come out and say, "Yo, we did everything wrong." When would that ever happen?
No. But listen, he's going to brief reporters himself. Don't get it twisted. His side of the story is going to come out. It's not just going to be just one-sided, and he's never going to reply. He's going to one way to get his story out.
At his first press conference when he takes over Everton, when Lampard gets sacked.
You know what's funny? I still think that with this whole targets thing, a lot of that was a bit of smoke and mirrors. When you think about Rafinha, I keep going back to this again, guys. You think anyone really wants to play this style of football that we're playing right now, like top players? Like, you can go to play in Barca, play on the right side with Barca. You don't have to play wing back, because that was really what he targeted Rafinha for. He wanted
Gordon,
and then Gordon as well, right? Like, he wanted a right-sided wing back, right, to alleviate. So you think about like the work rate that you have to possess, and like the amount of running, the amount of kilometers that you have to do match after match to play those roles. Guys don't want to do that, man. Like, you have the opportunity to go play with Xavi in Barcelona right now, play in your preferred position.
Nice.
as much as I hate to admit it, like that just seems more appealing than trying to like do all the dog work running up and down the pitch. The thing that made Chelsea successful in that Champions League run is because everyone bought into what he wanted. Mm-hmm. And then on top of that, you had somebody that set the tone match after match. Conte sets the tone for this squad.
He does, yeah.
Conte was the guy that was the force behind us winning these matches. You take him out of the fold, you don't have a reference point for work rate and effort. You know, you just don't have that, right? So these are the things that we're seeing right now. People don't want to play that way. And yeah, you know, Tuchel is force feeding this style of football that nobody wants to play right now.
It's interesting because the three guys you're linked with are kind of on a spectrum, innit? If you have Zidane as like the most successful winner, loves the big players, then you have Pochettino as kind of in the middle, someone who got near to the top but didn't make it, but, you know, quite tactically doing well, but not in favor right now. And then you got Potter on the other side has not gone close to winning anything, but he's right now in favor. He's the likable guy, the guy that everyone boasts up as being, you know, the next guy. Who's preferable to you guys? Like, let me ask you first, Couch. Are you more the successful trophies, Zidane, put him in, we got the squad, or are you more like, let's build up, let's get Graham Potter in, you know, kind of build up this squad, you know, start again? Or are you like with Poch in the middle, kind of, you know, the guy that kind of did it, but didn't do it to the top?
I'm definitely not Poch, that's for sure. I'm definitely not Poch.
You're not Poch.
I think that his shine in football is kind of like worn off considerably. I think if you bring in Zidane, that's box office because he can attract any player in the world, really, right? And I feel like that more fits the brand that Bowley is trying to build here, I think. Mm-hmm. But ultimately, if you're talking about football and from a footballing perspective, I think it's Potter. And like, I'm just reading now that they're talking about bringing in his recruitment guru as well. If he comes in, he's bringing him with him. So that's a natural partnership right there. You know, you already have somebody that he's worked with and understands what he wants to do footballing wise. That could be great, you know, but again, this all comes down to the fact, and this only really resolves if this guy can actually work with big name talents. You know, I mean, that's still unproven, right? It's just not.
No, wait. Let's slow you down. He's worked with Premier League winner Danny Welbeck. I don't know what you guys are talking about. Premiership winner. Yeah. Champions League finalist.
I love your banter, man. You're good. You're good with that, man.
Okay, let's talk a bit more about Potter. What does Potter bring to this squad? You look at this squad right now. If you had to take an estimate, Podfather, what players do you look at and you think he would work well with him? He'd like him. He'd more move us into this sort of way of playing.
I think all the attacking players will pretty much be happy to see Graham Potter come in because you're gonna get. I think you're gonna get more patterns of play going forward. I think you're going to get more of an attack and more of a risky risk. You know, I feel like we're a bit risk averse, on the Tuchel, where it was let's not lose. That's the main thing. But I feel like, well, I hope that Potter will come here and continue to be brave and not try and, because that guy, wherever he went, whether it was Man City, because he was Graham Potter, you look at their results and, you know, it's not amazing. The guy's 17, 13. I think one way the guy only won like 10 games in a season or something like that, or whatever. But everywhere they go, those guys play football. Everywhere. They come to Chelsea, they're not parking the bus. They're coming out, they're playing football. They go to Man City. So he's a brave manager. He's gonna go on the front for an attack. He's not looking to just sit back and defend. Whether their team as a whole ends up being good enough is another topic. But in terms of his tactics and his approach to the game, is always let's have possession, let's attack, let's create chances or whatever. So yeah, as long as he brings that with him to Chelsea, I think the attackers will be, and obviously they're the ones who fell out with Tuchel the most, will be more than happy to see him there. I think obviously that new manager bounce, it tends to happen, you know, whether the manager is a good manager or trash manager or whatever. You get 4, 5, 6 games where social, you know, the manager bounce, everything goes, and then our games are not too hard up until we get to Liverpool, where that's a bit tougher or whatever. So our next 2 games are not massively difficult. It's actually like a good time to come in or whatever. So yes, I think the attacking players will definitely be the ones to benefit in terms of him like dealing with big names and stuff. I think a lot of that comes from the club, you know. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think like the guy who's the coach at PSG now, yeah, he never dealt with no big players. What's his name? Gautier, yeah, but he's a beast. And he also has the backing of the manager and the club. Listen, this is the direction we're going. If you guys don't like it, you can all go. You can all leave and we'll get rid of you. And even just, I think we've already laid the groundwork down for that in this transfer window in the way we've dismissed all our deadwood. I think we sold like 15 players, something like that. Yeah. We either loaned or sold 15 players or whatever. So we've moved guys on, we've been ruthless, we've ended contracts, we've let guys go for next to no money. If you're not fitting in, you can go. If you're not down for the long-term project, you can leave. I think as long as that comes from the top and that's consistent, the players will be forced to come along. Yeah, I mean, all this whole, the players can remove the manager, player power. It only happens consistently if there's a rot at the top where, those guys at the top are just looking to sack the manager for any reason. That's when the players have all this power. But if they know that, listen, most likely you're going to go before the manager, I'm going to keep Sturm. As long as I'm playing and enjoying my football, I'll be happy. Getting paid a nice wage, everything. So for me, it's very important that when the club bring him in, they have to back him 100%.
Yeah.
100%. And that's even with like behind the scenes with the players and everything.
Just to touch on the PSG thing, just wait until they have a slip up. And wait until they have this is still the honeymoon period for that particular group of players, right?
I hear you.
Yeah, so until because the same thing happened with Pochettino too, right? Until they have a slip up and they have like some sort of like falling out, because it's Mbappe's team. Let's just be real here, right?
I didn't slip up. I didn't slip up 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. Yeah, they fell out penalty gates. Players are fighting. Nobody's getting along. This person wants.
But this is still the honeymoon period in terms of the relationship. Yeah. So like I'm waiting for that because this is Mbappe's team now, right? But beyond that, like I just think you're right, 100%. Like it has to come from the top down, right? And in the past, we had an owner where players could just go right to the owner and talk about what's happening. Like Drogba, Terry, like Lamps, they'd all be able to have direct conversations with the owner and tell them, how much they don't like Avram Graham, how much they don't like Scolari, how much they don't like all these dudes, right? And so, yeah, if the structure's in place, do you believe that structure's in place now? Though I don't. I don't see anyone that understands football there right now.
Nice place, so you can do what you want. Yeah, I mean, it's to the point where it's like, okay. Once this manager comes in, hopefully I'm going to fill these positions over the season. Yeah, but you guys are going to look crazy if this manager comes in and you don't run for him. After you didn't run for the last guy, you didn't try hard. Watch what the fan base does.
What I'll say is that
coming for you next. Yeah, I mean, like that's why there's always a reaction after when the guy comes. And it's not, and the good thing is it's not an interim guy. If it's an interim guy, that reaction will only last a couple of games and then fade off. Because it's a permanent manager, a guy who has the power to either renew your contract or sell you in January or sell you in the summer, your effort levels continue and go on. So it's not like a goose hitting or whatever, bringing these interim guys and these guys are going to be here next year anyway. Mm-hmm. So I think that will help. The fact that it's a permanent choice.
What I'll say is that obviously, yeah, to touch on what Papa said, I think that also the difference is with Terry and those guys. I don't think there is any Terrys in the squad right now. There's no one really that's Lampard, Terry, that really can dictate and not get sold. The only unsellable player that I think you got is James. And I think James follows and plays well, regardless of who's there. He's on his own thing. The rest of them, I think even Mason Mount, if he really got up and said, I'm not playing, he's off. You guys would cash in your 10, 15 million you get for him and then and you sell him. Obviously, I just want to let you guys know that Ragnar, he's available if you guys need him. But to talk about foreign managers, I actually got one to throw in the mix. I think he's a fantastic manager. I think he won 2 trophies last year. He plays great football. He's currently at Inter Milan. I'm talking about Inzaghi. He's doing a great job over there. He's done a great job at Lazio. Is that someone you consider in the long term? Let's say you bring in someone, Graham Potter, it doesn't work to the end of the season. You're going into the summer next year. Is Inzaghi someone you look at? He plays great football at Lazio, he didn't have a great squad. At Inter Milan, he's got a good squad. Without Lukaku last season, he came second. Martinez looked very good, and he won 2 trophies. I
just feel like the problem there is just, again, understanding with the players. Like, he doesn't even speak English, right? Like, we already went through that with Maurizio Sarri and stuff. I just feel like how he would mesh with the club. Obviously, he's a big name in football and whatnot, and he would have that gravitas. But like at the same time, I don't know if he would really take to the English game the same way, right? Like he's Italian through and through. And like the reason why he's probably getting the performances he is at Inter Milan right now is just because he is that, he is Italian football in a lot of ways, like, so I don't know if I hear what you're saying though. I think his style of football is quite appealing if you get the buy-in, but everything just for me is about the buy-in. Like, can you get these players to play your style of football? And the thing about Potter, again, that I think is an appealing, attractive thing for the owners is how much money have we spent on youth the last little while? Like, he's very good at getting these kids to understand what he wants, whereas Tuchel does not really necessarily want to work with youth, right? He doesn't want to work with these kids, right? He just sold Billy Gilmore to Graham Potter for $9 million, for God's sakes, right? But like, all of these, I think that this is the next thing. They want somebody that's good with youth because we're not going to be spending overs and overs and overs anymore. We're going to be bringing in the next ones and hoping that they could, make their name at Chelsea rather than be, the household name that comes to Chelsea. So if that is the philosophy going forward, like trying to develop talent and make them, into first team players, buy the next ones and bring them in and develop them, then Graham Potter is not a bad shout. Yeah. It would have been similar to what people liked about Pochettino a few years back. He was just able to work with these younger players and, get them playing a certain style of football. That I have no problem with. It's just, if you're still about this marquee PR, campaign that you've been running this whole summer, then I don't know if this is the guy. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. So to go on to talk about some of the Champions League games yesterday. Did you guys keep up with the Champions League? Did you watch everything that was going on?
No. I had my own set of problems.
I watched the PSG Juventus game.
I was going to talk about the most important game. I don't know if you guys saw Shakhtar Donetsk beat RP Leipzig with that future Arsenal star playing. I don't even know how to pronounce his name, Mudryk, whatever. The guy that we wanted on the last day of the transfer window, looking like a world-class version of Jack Grealish. He was amazing. I'm just letting everyone know. I said it first, didn't it? When he comes to Arsenal in January for 20 million and he scores 15 goals. Yeah.
What's his name again? Can you even pronounce his name? Okay.
Modric, something like that.
Modric, okay. You want Modric? He's at Real Madrid, then.
Speaking of Modric, Hazard lives.
He did one turn yesterday, and I swear he got his walking stick out afterwards. He looked like he was No, that spin was good though. He looked quite good yesterday. He had some good turn of pace. I was really impressed. I watched the highlights. I was really impressed with Celtic. I thought Celtic were great for 40 minutes of that game.
It was so crazy because I watched a lot of that game too. Yeah, I swear they weren't trying to pass him. Bro, the guy must have shown at least 20. He just passed to somebody else. Passed him. Come on, Benzema touches because he came on for Benzema. Benzema touches everything that when they go forward in that team. They were literally just avoiding him. Passes to Vinicius, passes to whoever. He only had like 40-something touches in the game. Yeah? And he had an assist and a goal.
He looked good though. He looked good. He was
movement, beautiful. But that's the crazy thing about Madrid. Yeah? They look a better team than they looked last year. They look so confident.
Too many.
The way not even that, but like it's not even just too many. Everybody, like the way they're playing, like Vinicius is on mad confidence. Like, it's no more just about form now. Like, this is me. This is who I am. Yeah, I'm gonna give you 20 goals. You know what I mean? Every season or whatever. Valverde just looking like an absolute monster.
You know what is with Real Madrid? What happens is because we focus so much on Benzema, Modric, and Cruz, they've got a deceptively young team. You don't realize a lot of their players are quite young. Like the majority of their team is quite young. It's the staples, Cruz and Modric and Benzema, but a lot of them, Valverde, Vinicius, Rodrigo, Tuchel, what's his name? Not Casemiro, the other guy that they signed, the French guy, the other French guy, Melito, Mendy. You know what I mean? A lot of their players are not old. So all they need, I think they're actually going to plan to move on from Benzema going into next summer, look for the next guy that they need, and then move on from there. Because realistically, I think Modric is the hardest player to replace. Even as good as Benzema is, I think what Modric does for their team, like I look around the world and I can't really see one player doing that. Like I don't really see that midfielder right there.
The closest guys are the young basketball is like Pedri and whatever, and you know them. But I think they'll be looking at Haaland definitely 2-3 years time as a Benzema replacement, and I think it'll be perfect. You know, but then Mbappe as well.
Yeah, I think I if I'm them, I'm looking more at Mbappe. Not because first of all, Mbappe was amazing in that. That first goal was insane. His technique. People have been I've seen people. Oh, he's a pace merchant and this that. People understand his technique has improved from 2-3 years on when he was in Man United. Like he's a different player to that United player that they.
That volley, come on, son.
No, it was insane.
Second, the quick passing and then boom.
I think Madrid. I'm not saying that they won't like Haaland, innit? Because they've had Van Nistelrooy, they've had those sort of players before, but they would prefer Mbappe. They like they like someone that gets involved with the game more. They like someone that makes runs, pass it left and right. I think Mbappe is more their guy, and I do personally believe outside of goal scoring and probably movement, just general movement, I think Mbappe is probably the better player. I think outside of goal scoring and general movement, I think Mbappe is better on the ball than him. I think Mbappe is a better dribbler. I think he's got more technique. And he's probably a better long shooter than him. Yeah, I think he's the better player. That's what I think, personally. I think
this better footballer.
Yeah, better footballer. Yeah, better.
Because because he plays in a role like he doesn't play down the middle, right? Yeah. Like I think he plays off the right or
he plays in the Henri. We call it the Henri.
Henri, that's a good look. Yeah, so he's a better footballer, I would say, because he has more about his game. But I mean, the things that Haaland's doing right now is just mad. It's just mad. Like let's not.
Yeah, Haaland is he's crazy. I think you guys should have paid him. I heard he was linked with Chelsea, and you guys wouldn't pay him 800k a week. You should have gave him the money and kept quiet. I don't know why you guys hesitated.
And then go right into liquidation. Yeah.
Would you realistically looking now? Would you pay him that much money? Is a player worth like that to you? Even what he's doing now?
Nah.
It depends.
Not another club like Chelsea. Like a club like Real Madrid, maybe, but like a club like Chelsea cannot afford to give somebody that sort of wages. That's just ridiculous.
It depends, Cal. It depends. You know why I say this? Is he worth Lukaku and Werner together? Yes. What's their wage together? But
it's not 800. It's not 800.
Not even close.
You know what I'm saying? I'm like, listen. My thing is this. I've always wanted Chelsea to sign
a marquee player,
generational talent. Yeah, in my mind, we've only really signed one.
You signed Hazard. Hazard definitely.
Yeah, that was it. I'm talking about at the beginning of their journey, not like the end. Or just come for the last 2 years of their career, or whatever.
Oscar.
Yeah? Like even like Fabregas or whatever. Yeah, but those sort of players, I just feel like all the rules just go out the door. Like you have to get this guy. Like imagine going back and seeing a young R9. Yeah, 19 at Barcelona, scoring all those goals, and I need like 500k. Nah, some of these guys you have to sign them. But I don't know if the guy even wanted to come.
But didn't you guys sign a few? Like, as in, does Kevin get in there? Does he count as a generational talent?
No, because he wasn't anywhere near at the time when we signed him. He became one afterwards.
Okay.
I don't know if he's generational, to be honest. I think he's a fantastic footballer. But I just say that word generational gets thrown around way too often. Like, are we going to be talking about Kevin De Bruyne, 20 years from now, the way we're going to be talking about like Thierry Henry? I don't think so.
I understand what you're saying.
The guys that come first will always be talked about more. Yeah, the guys that open whatever. But if this guy ends up getting 6-7 Premier Leagues before he retires, 100% talking about him. If he breaks the assists,
I don't think that those 6-7 titles were just on the strength of his performances.
I think he will be the one consistent factor all through. Sterling is gone. Sterling was the only guy.
Well, don't forget they won 2 titles when he missed almost 30 games, right?
Yeah,
so
listen, no doubt, it's a great team. It's a great Pep Guardiola team. Everything.
What I'll say is that,
but he's the one constant. Yeah, that's going to be there.
He's not a constant.
That guy's tenure.
What I'll say is I agree with you both to an extent. I think he's an amazing player, but I was only messing when I said I think generational talent goes beyond how much you win, how good you were. It goes to when you're looking at a player and you're like, nah, it can't be done. Like you can't look at another player being similar. And I look at Kevin, and I think Kevin is Kevin to me is like one of the top most functional players. I can't explain it. When I look at him, it looks like he practiced until he perfected something. But I do look at players where I'm like, there are players that will be spoken about him aren't better. Neymar is a generation.
Name a better midfielder in a position.
When? What do you mean? From when?
In the last 5 years.
Modric.
No.
I gave you one.
Modric is better than he has it. Last 5 years. He's an amazing moments, but he's not the best.
But I also say that the level of midfielders have dropped in it from
100%.
my old day of Vieira. Huh?
Okay, listen. Call whoever you want. Who has the passing range of Kevin?
Passing range.
Yeah, off from Fabregas. Who has
passing range? A lot of guys.
There's a lot of players that
a lot of guys do.
Pillow.
Listen, listen.
Bro, even that guy that was at PSG until recently has. Oh, what's his name? The guy that was at PSG.
Oh, Verratti. Verratti.
Not Verratti. The other guy underneath him.
Paredes. That guy.
That guy can pass.
Yeah.
No,
that guy can pass a football.
Kozola.
Listen. All these guys you're talking about can pass, but they can't bend it like Beckham.
Oh my God.
Different. It doesn't matter.
This is an illusion. This is what happens. You know, you watch one or two crosses, you get excited.
Listen,
he's a fantastic player. I just think he's a fantastic player, but he's not generational.
Yeah.
Like I feel like generational. I don't use that term very often, to be honest. I don't. I think world class needs to be used more.
This is what I'll say. Everything is a system. It's about system now. So it's hard to be a generation. Like there are guys who are brilliant players now, but the systems don't allow them let me just do something off the cuff. Let me just do a back here.
No. But what he's trying to say is almost like there are certain players, whether we pretend or not to pretend, that if they were out for a season, their team, even if they had good players, it's almost like if you take Modric out of that Madrid team, and you say he's done for the season. I don't care who you have in that team. And even if you think about Kevin at Man City, as good as the other players at Man City, there's no one as good as him. So they shouldn't be able to perform as well, but they're still fine without him. Like,
okay. But listen, let me give an example. Real Madrid, if you take Benzema out, same thing. The team is done.
That's what I'm saying.
But I'm saying it's not just a Madrid. If you take Benzema out, the team is done. You take Vinicius out, the team is done.
No, I don't think so. I don't think they're done.
Bro, all their counter attack, all their pace, all their
Rodrigo will fill in. Pele said Rodrigo's good enough, so he's good enough. I don't know what you're talking. Pele said it. Didn't you guys hear when Pele said Rodrigo's good enough?
Oh man, listen.
He said that he's a star.
Don't worry about Pele, man. Now, I think what it is as well is we watch these players all the time in HD. We see all the highlights. We see their mistakes. We idolize all those players from back in the day. But when you look at even like let's say Ronaldinho's record, who do they say has more goals in Champions League than him? Some average player. Like his run was like 2-3 years. Of like highest level or whatever. But when we look back, oh my God, this guy did it. You know what I mean? Like we look back with a lot of nostalgia. Yeah, I mean, like, because these guys right now are breaking all those records that those guys were setting. The goals, the assists, the domination of leagues that had never been seen before.
I think when you're talking about generational, you have to say what level above their peers are there right now. Like Ronaldinho, when he was doing that for 2 or 3 years, he was here, and everyone else was here. Like that's what makes generational for me. You can't be like think about what a generation is, right? Generational means that you stand head and shoulders above your peers of that time, right? And for me, Ronaldinho is that. He's one of those guys. Zinedine Zidane is that. He's one of those guys. I don't necessarily know if Kevin De Bruyne gives me that vibe. Like I think that the team that they've assembled at Man City. Like you can plug in different players here and there, and you'll get the same results.
Do you think he goes into the squad? Do you think he goes into the Salah thing? Like he's an amazing player in an amazing system, doing the best of his ability, but he's not necessarily head and shoulders above everybody else. But in that system, playing that way, you get the best out of him. Is he like that?
Yeah, I mean, no. I really just think that City. I wouldn't say Salah. I think that he's more of a special than Salah because like the things that Salah is just a pace merchant, right? Like just run behind you and score goals, right? Salah is a pace merchant, man. Come on now. But De Bruyne, he has a little bit more cerebral aspect to his game. He thinks the game, you threw balls, all that stuff. But like, I just feel like you've seen Gundogan come into that squad and take the De Bruyne role, and he scores 18 goals. They're still winning titles. You know what I mean?
I think that's more down to the manager. Yeah, like that's Pep.
Regardless of how you look at it, then you can't separate the two right now, though. You can't separate the two.
100%. But I think when it comes to Kevin, people forget this guy was doing in Germany before he came to Man City. This guy was unbelievable at Wolfsburg and Bayer Leverkusen before he comes. Yeah, so this guy's on like really like an 8-year run.
But so was Werner.
Excellent player. Yeah, I'm saying.
Bundesliga tax, man.
So it's where they got like 5-6 goals now in the Bundesliga.
Yeah, against like bottom tier teams. You
Bundesliga
see his first goal? You remember his first goal, right?
Yeah.
The guy that's about to break out our goal scoring record is a Bundesliga player as well. Don't worry.
Are Chelsea guys saying that it's Kepa to the end of the season? Is that your first choice goalkeeper?
Mate, listen. I think this is the best thing for Mendy because I think the new manager is going to come in and be like, listen, let's go back to Mendy and keep it nice, safe hand. Let's give him a chance. And let's see how things go. I think the Kepa thing. I thought he played well against.
I think he did as well. He made a great.
He didn't really have too much to do, but apart from that save, and that's what everybody was complaining about. Like, what Mendy's problem is that when we're in games where he has loads of saves to make, he's excellent, yeah. And when we don't have anything to do, we have one save to make, then the guy fumbles. I'm like, that's exactly what Kepa did yesterday. And then they were still saying, oh no, he should have saved the first goal. I'm like, mate, this guy defending. The guy's one-on-one with the keeper. Like, how many guys saved those, man? Like, come on. And that finish was insane. That little chip that he did. Nobody was looking at that finish. That was where he was going to put the ball. So no.
Before we go, can I just ask: are these the worst goalkeepers you guys have had in Premier League since you've been in the Premier League? Are these the worst two goalkeepers you've had?
Nah, Hilario. Are you crazy? Hilario. And
I mean, like as a pairing.
Yeah,
as a pairing. Is that what you mean?
Yeah. Have you had a worst pairing?
I would probably say yeah, man. I would probably say yeah.
Because we've always had Czech and we've always had Czech.
Well, it doesn't matter who you had after Czech. Like you had Czech, right? And then Courtois, obviously solid.
I like Kudicini.
Yeah, I think you're right, man. I think you're right. You know, like I mean, it doesn't really say much because we usually have keepers for like Czech was there for
long time,
many million years. But
so just to ask before, is a keeper something you guys are looking for in January? Like in January, would you guys want to go out for the transfer window to loan someone in? Bring someone in, someone that of just better form.
No, I don't think so. I don't think that's. I mean, there's too much investment in keepers right now, anyways, and they're already talking about renegotiating Mendy's deal right now. I don't think he's a bad keeper. I just think he's in a bad run of form right now, right?
For a year,
not very good with his feet, not very good playing out from the back. But new manager, who knows what comes, right?
He's been playing bad for a year.
Yeah, you're probably right. Now, actually, I would say the beginning parts of last season, he was actually quite good. It was when the wheels started to fall off with the Lukaku debacle that everything started to go. As soon as he came back from AFCON, that guy wasn't the same keeper anymore. Like, am I wrong? Like, he was
different. They did some juju on him, yeah.
Something happened, man. But we'll have to wait and see, man. Well, again, whoever the new manager, if it's Potter and he has a particular style of play that does not appeal to the goalies, then maybe. But as of right now, I don't think that you've had so much invested there. It's going to be very hard to shift those guys right now.
Yeah. And as guys, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. As usual, make sure you follow Couch at the Blue Couch Critic. Is it Couch Critic? Yeah, lovely.
Couch Critic, it's okay.
Couch Critic. Right again. Make sure we're trying to put as much videos as we can, but we're all busy people. Of course, we're all applying for the Chelsea job. Available. And just to say that
it's apart from me, you know what I mean?
I formally put in a request for Solskjaer to take over, of course, because I think he could do a great job there with some counter-attacking.
Me is coach, Couch is my assistant, and King Joe as the masseur.
Nice.
Oh my god, make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe, and leave us comments because it's really important to us. We really appreciate you guys watching this. And as usual, all concerns, put there in the comment group. If you think the Podfather has been crazy this episode, put it in the comment group. If you think the Couch has been crazy, put it in the comment group. And if you think I've been amazing, put it in the comment group. It's been myself, it's been everybody. It's the Football Podcast.
Peace.
Pull Up Podcast, and we're out.
Yeah.
Really, guys.
Yeah.